Okay, so the first video looked at how to merge your data so you can make a graph that has date and time data on the x-axis. This time I'm going to solve the problem that you might have if you have units on the end of your height data. Okay, so if you tried to make your graph and you selected your date and time and you selected your height data just like this, you were super excited because you thought it was going to work, then it didn't. It's probably because you have these letters at the ends of your numbers. And whereas normally for science, that's a good thing to have your units there. Unfortunately, when we are trying to use a spreadsheet for this, the letters actually confuse the computer and it doesn't know what to do. So it just does nothing. So the first possibility would be to just go through and delete the units from every single box separately, which for me would be no problem because I only have 13 data points. But for you, you most likely have anywhere between 60 and 120 data points. So that would take you a very long time to do. Instead of doing that, we're going to write a function or an equation to remove the units from the end of the numbers. Okay, so first thing you want to do is insert a blank column to the right or the left. It doesn't matter which side you add it to. I'm going to add mine to the right. Oops, I added it to the wrong spot. I'm just going to scoot it over here. I want it to be right next to my height column. Okay? And then I'm going to add one more blank column to the right. So I have two blank columns now. Okay? This is what we're going to be working with. When we're done, we'll delete the extras and we'll only have one column left. So I'm going to put my titles back in, just for the sake of having them already there. Okay, now, in the top box here, you're going to write an equation. So we're going to come up here to the function box where you're always writing everything. You're going to put a plus sign there. Okay, and we're going to start by typing the word left. Now you'll notice that some boxes pop up, okay, and that means that we are going to be looking at a function. Okay, the left function works in both Google Sheets and Excel. So if you had this problem in Excel, it's the same. Okay, everything's exactly the same. Now, what the left function does is it is going to, normally, if we're just going to use it by itself, it would count the number of characters that you have in a box from the left, and it would take that number of characters that you tell it to take, and it would put it over here. Okay, so if I were to say left, and then I click on this column, okay, I want it to look at this entire column, and then if I put comma 2, it would move the 1 and the 0 over to this column, okay, which is great and would work really well for us if all of our data always has the same number of characters. The problem comes when you don't know how many characters you need to take. So like right here, I only need to take one character, but down here I need to take 2. And I don't want to have to write several separate functions. I want to put one and drag it down and have it work for everything, okay, because that's the easiest solution. So this we're going to have to add a little more to though. Okay, so in my function box, I went back up to the top. So I'm going to leave my E:E. That means I selected this column, and that's what I want to select. I'm going to put a comma and then I'm going to add a second function. So we're going to have a function inside of a function. The second function that we're going to type is a len function. Okay, and then we're going to open that up. We want both of these functions to work on the same column. So I'm going to click the same column, okay? And then I'm actually going to close that because that's all I need for there. Then I want to delete a certain number of characters from my height column. Okay, so I'm going to put a minus sign, okay, subtract, and I'm going to count the number of characters that I want to subtract. So I want to subtract the T, that's 1 character, the F, that's 2 characters, and the space, that's 3 characters. Don't forget your space. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 3 characters from my total, And then I'm going to close my parentheses. Notice that it highlights the parentheses to show you that you've closed them. And I'm going to hit enter. Okay, now if instead you had, say, meters here, okay, so if I change this one to meters, an M, I'm going to use the same basic function, equals left, open parenthesis, select a column, comma, blend, open parenthesis, select the column, close, minus, and instead this time I had an M for meters and one space, so I would have 2 characters instead. Close my parentheses, and it works the same way. So the functions are almost identical, just taking away a different number of characters. Okay, and if you have something longer, just count the number of characters that you need, and that's the number that you want to take off. So if maybe you had the entire word meter written, you would count, okay, RETEM and space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters that you want to get rid of. So it would be -6 instead. Okay, so I'm gonna fix my data here real quick so that my function works for everything. Okay, because you're probably not going to have multiple types of units, or at least I hope you don't. Okay, now to get this function to every single one of these boxes, notice this little blue square in the corner down here. Okay, so every time I click on a space, a little blue square pops up. That's your copy square. So I'm going to go over to it, and when the crosshairs show up, I'm going to click and hold, and then I'm going to drag down for all my data. Okay. That just copy and pasted the function into every single box in this column. So that's what you'll do. You'll copy and paste all the way down. Now, if you get one that, let's see if I did this one, if I drag down, okay, so notice here, okay, that I got this £sign value. That just means that something's not right. In this case, it's telling me that I didn't have enough numbers in my column for it to work. Okay, so that's all that's telling me. So especially if you have blank columns, blank boxes, that you'll see this sign. So now, but now you're probably all happy because you have all these numbers are separate, and you might again try to click on both of your items and put your graph, and it's going to freak out again because if you click on these boxes, all this is an equation. The number shows up here when you look at it, but actually all that's really in that box to the computer is an equation. It's not really an actual number. The computer needs actual numbers to make a graph. So that's what the third column is for. We're going to take this column right here, and we're going to go edit, and we're going to copy it. Or you can, on your control pad, you can hit Control C, and that'll copy that column. Then we're going to come over here and click on the G column. Don't just click copy and paste, or it will copy and paste the equation. Okay, we go up to your edit menu and go to paste special and paste values only. Okay, this means you're only putting the numbers that you see right here into the column. So now instead of like here seeing a function, seeing an equation, we're only seeing a number in the box. That means really what's there now is just a number. And every single one of your boxes should look like that now. They should all just have a number. Once you just have your numbers all separate, then you can go back and click on and highlight your columns, and you can get rid of those extra columns. Because now the one that had the letters and the one that had the function that you used, we don't need those anymore. They were just, it was our original data, and then it was our working data to help us get from one thing to the next. Alright, so now you're ready to make your graph, so grab your data here, make sure it's formatted correctly. Mine's formatted correctly there. Format, number, select, control select, use your ... dots, insert chart. Ta-da! And there you have it.